Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. This is going to be my review of the Gathering Storm Fall of Cadia codex. So last week I started a giveaway where I was going to give away one of these Gathering of Storm Triumvirate of the Imperium box sets. It being Warhammer Wednesday today, I'll be announcing the winner of that. Remember, I'm shipping it anywhere in the world this evening. The closing date was last night. All you had to do was say which was your favourite model out of the set and obviously be a subscriber to the channel. So the closing date was last night. By now I would have picked the winner, and that video will be up later today, probably towards the end of the evening. So just stay tuned for that. And I'll also private message you as well to announce the winner. I thought I'd also put the results of which model people preferred the most. Anyway, back to the review. So as part of this Fall of Cadia sort of campaign, Games Workshop created this box set with the 5 models in. So you've got Saint Celestine and her 2 Gemini Superior, you've got Bellisarius Call, and then you've got Inquisitor Grayfax. In conjunction with this, they released the campaign book, Gathering Storm. Yes, it sort of only has sort of 3 data sheets, if that makes sense, but it's got a few formations in there, and it's got a whole heap of backstory. This is a spoiler-free edition. I'm not going to do a spoiler edition of the codex, so rest assured I won't be disclosing anything about the Fall of Cadia. However, it's safe to say that there's sort of a spoiler on the front cover. So one of these books will cost you £30. I think it's great that they did it in hardback. I would always prefer hardback, even if it's £5 more or even sort of £10 more maybe. So the book itself is really nicely presented. I understand, obviously, he's the trigger for the Fall of Cadia. He's been around since 30k, since Horus Heresy. Some of the start of the Horus Heresy books are great. They talk about him. I understand why they put him on the cover, because there's a lot of sort of backstory and things about him in there. But likewise, I would have been equally pleased if Bellisarius or even Saint Celestine was on the front cover. So let's look at this. Lovely colour. It's printed in the UK, if that means anything to you. So produced by Games Workshop in Nottingham. You've got a lovely page of contents. You can see here that the data sheets start at page 119. So you're pretty much getting 116 pages worth of backstory and pictures and artwork and things like that. And we'll just touch on those page by page. So you get like a little bit of an introduction. Gives you sort of like a snapshot of what's going on in the galaxy at the moment. And then it just starts the whole story from the beginning, pretty much, and really goes into depth about Mechanicus and the Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard, and then the Mechanicum sort of search for buried secrets, and it also revolves around Necrons too, specifically Trazyn, and then other forces sort of see what's happening, they get involved. And then how Abaddon's sort of assault gathers pace. And then you get sort of like the first siege of Cadia. And it's good because it breaks it up not only with the artwork, but also sort of these little proper stories of sort of like eyes on the ground and reports. It's even sort of written like this, like in a data log or something like that. And you get this lovely model image there. And then that's sort of like the Mechanicum, Astra Militarum, and a few bits of Space Marine sort of areas. Then you get the Fires of Salvation, but sort of puts you in the eyes of sort of Saint Celestine. There you go, look. She sort of arrives. I love how it sort of breaks it up again with sort of eyes on the ground reports and also descriptions of certain things like the Phalanx. And then again, from sort of chaos perspective, demon side of things, and more Astra Militarum, Mechanicus, Archmagos stuff, another battle, and then the Chime of Midnight, and then even more sort of reports and backstory of Abaddon, and his wrath and the relentless sort of assault of Cadia. We've even got some cataphracti pattern Terminators here, and some Mark IV Space Marine armour. So we're slowly sort of seeing this introduction of the newer but sort of older models. I mean, this is the 41st millennium, but it's fine that we've got these cataphracti and Mark IV Space Marines. So that really sort of fills me with more confidence with my chapter, and having, well, even I've got some Mark III. I might introduce some Mark II, but it does fill me with confidence that I can put those in the chapter, and it won't look too out of place. Then we've got more of the Templars, and then finally sort of like the Fall of Cadia. I won't really go too much into this because there's a lot of spoilers. Yeah, again, a lot of spoilers. I don't really want to sort of delay too much on what sort of happened in detail and where it's going to go next and where I think it's going to go next. After all of that, you get some wonderful pictures of the models. I mean, I would have liked to have seen sort of paint guides in these books, even so much so as like a list of paints they use, but I'm absolutely fine with that, because not only do they have some of the paints on the back of the box, they also, in the instruction guide, they have all the list of paints that they use. And on the Warhammer TV YouTube channel, Duncan does a fantastic job of getting you to paint these at a very, very high standard. That's just my opinion, but there you go. So I can understand why they're kind of an omission in this book, but the pictures are very high detailed, and you can see the amount of sort of work and the way they've done it. But I don't think any sort of blown up image of Bellisarius will really capture the detail on that model. It's just absolutely fantastic. There's so much going on that model. Again, some more pictures, and I understand why they've done it for this. I think it does work. Why they put these sort of strange, oddly proportioned sort of Space Marines. It actually works in this book with the Defenders of Cadia, because it gives you a quick snapshot of all the chapters that are involved, and the different Mechanicus and Scutari forces too. You've got Alpha of Mars, pure red. Lucius is a bit more crimson. Stegis 8 is black with bits of red, and then Riser orange. They're sort of like the four main ones. That's really cool. If you wanted to, I mean, I know that it's in the Scutari Codex and Mechanicus, but if you wanted to paint your Mechanicus faction from one of those Forge Worlds, then of course you can do that. I'm going to be boring and have mine from Mars, and I do like the red colour scheme, the really rich sort of red colour scheme. Then finally you get the rules, which starts off with these Echoes of War missions, and the Battle Zone and the Empiric Storms. And they also brought out a pack of cards. I think they were sold out. They might be in stock again now, of all these Empiric Storm events, which is really cool, because you use a D66, 2D6, and then you'd obviously pick one of these events, which is pretty cool. But they are listed here, so not necessarily that you need a card. You could just write it down or whatever, but there are cards out there if you wanted to do that. Now, the book also comes with the 4 missions. You essentially get this mission where you're pitting up Adeptus Mechanicus, which must include either Cult Mechanicus, Scutari, or Imperial Knights, and then the opponent has to be Orcs, and it must include a big mech, which represents the Orc Gangrek in the fluff. A quite straightforward deployment zone, and it's the Scavenger War. So there you go. Thereafter, shiny loot, all the rest of it. Then you get another mission, Echoes of War, the Sword of Defiance. With this one, it pits Dark Angels or Astra Militarum, and it must include a Company Master. And then the opponent is the Chaos player, and they must include at least one unit of Khorne Berserkers in the army. And that looks quite straightforward. Imperial player's deployment zone, 24 inches. It looks like a 48-inch length board and width board anyway. And then mission 3, Fall of the Cregan Gates. So the Imperial is a Space Marines and use Black Templars chapter tactics, or have Adept Sororitas, Militarum Tempestus, or Astra Militarum faction, and then the opponent is Chaos, and you can have an Astra Militarum faction in there as well, and it must include the Demon Prince. And then the final mission, the Emperor Protects. You get the Imperial player, which includes Company Command Squad, which includes Castellan Creed, the Triumvirate of the Imperium formation, and Trazin the Infinite. So if you don't have any Necrons, you're going to be a bit stuffed. And also it's quite odd because flyers, you can't use flyers in this mission. And then the opponent, Chaos, again, they have to have a Bringers of Despair formation, which you need the Black Legion or Traitor Legion's Codex supplement, and then you've got Abaddon in there as well. So that's a really sort of epic battle. 18 inches away, Chaos only get a little 12-inch deployment zone. You've got Empiric Storms, Reserves, Divine Intervention, and all the rest of it. So really fun sort of missions to play. I'd just like to do the Orc one really with Mechanicus and Orcs, but there you go. So then we get Forces of the Imperium, and it just gives you like a little starter's guide to data sheets and what they're displaying, which is quite useful if you've never sort of had a codex before. And then we get into the data sheets. So it starts off with Bellisarius Call, 200 points, absolutely epic. I do go into his rules in depth in my review of the model. He's a great little powerhouse. He's got his mastercrafted power axe, he's got this Arc Scourge, he's got this Mechadendrite Hive that you basically can get 2d6 worth of attacks. His stat line is Weapon Skill 5, Ballistic Skill 5, Strength 5, but Toughness 6. You've got 5 wounds, and at the start of each of your turns, he recovers D3 wounds lost earlier in the battle. So every one of your turns, on a 5+, he'll recover 3 of his wounds. That's even if he lost three of his wounds, because he's got his normal save of 2+, but his refractor field only gives him this 5+ invulnerable, which is the same as a Tech Priest Dominus. He has a 2+ save and a 5+ invulnerable. Initiative's only 3, but he does get 3 attacks with his Mastercrafted Power Axe. And remember, he's got those 2d6 attacks, and he can make an extra attack with his Haywire Data Spike, which is pretty cool. Leadership's 10, and we already said it's 2+ save. He can also re-roll failed Feel No Pain rolls, so he's also got the Feel No Pain. Special rules, he's got Canticles of Archmagos and Canticles of Omnissiah. In the instruction booklet, it doesn't explain those, but obviously in this book it does, and they're both nice and neat on the opposite page. He's an independent character, he's very bulky. He's also got this weapon which is called the Solar Atomizer. It's thermic energy and uses sort of melter waves in short range. Now it's only 12 inches, but it is strength 10, AP 1. He gets 3 shots with it, and it's assault weapon. And mastercrafted. So what that means is on a 5+, he'll get 3 shots with it. On a 2+, all those 3 shots are going to hit. But if he fails any of those, so say he gets 1-1 or something like that, he can re-roll that. And then it's also melter 2. So at range 6 inches, you're going to be sort of penetrating 2d6 instead of the 1, which is quite horrific if you get him quite close. So there you go. Now, Canticles of the Omnissiah, nothing's really changed from the Mechanicus book. What these do is basically, it depends on the number of units that you've got that you can perform that Canticle, if that makes sense. So that they haven't really changed at all. But what he does have is he does have this Canticles of the Archmagos, which is something that the Tech Priest Dominus does not, because he's not an Archmagos. So he gets these extra 3 Canticles, and they work exactly the same, but they have an effect on friendly vehicle units from armies of the Imperium within 12 inches of him, which includes Harmony of Metallurgy, which gives them It Will Not Die, Utterance of Neutralization, which gives increases in ballistic skill, and War Hymnal of Fortitude gives you invulnerable saves. And if you've got 8 or more of the units, you get 4+ invulnerable. A fantastic buff. If you can put him near your friendly units, and you've got 8 or more of the Canticles, you can really buff vehicles that wouldn't naturally get a save. Then you've got Saint Celestine herself, 200 points. In the review I mentioned that her weapon skill, ballistic skill 7. She's only got strength 3 and toughness 3, but her sword does bump up her strength to +2, and she gets Armoured Bane and Mastercrafted, which is great. She gets 5 wounds, Initiative 7, 5 attacks, Leadership 10, and Save 2. So she's a bit of a machine, and the fact that she's Initiative 7 is just crazy too. Gemini Superior, quite straightforward. They get their bolt pistol and power swords. There's a couple of rules that buff all of the 3 together. Sort of they can go to different squads, they can come out of different squads. So they're always with her. They basically can take wounds from her, and they get 2 wounds each anyway. So that unit itself has already got sort of 9 wounds, and the fact that her little tiers are healing. So if one of them dies, you can set one up at the start of your turn, so you get another two wounds basically, if that makes sense. She's also got this incredible shooting attack, which is like an orbital bombardment, strength 8, AP 3. It's assault 1, she can move about and use it. Barrage, large blast, orbital. But if it scatters, it really does scatter. Both of the Gemini have 4+ invulnerable, and obviously she has the Armour of St. Catherine, which means she gets 2+ normal and a 4+ invulnerable. And also martyrdom. That means, if she's completely removed, then you pass all your leadership tests until the next turn. Miraculous intervention. Basically, when she's removed as casualty, take a leadership test. If it's failed, she's slain as normal, but if you're successful, you just leave a little counter, and at the start of your next turn, you place her back on the battlefield. All wounds restored, and of course you can also use her healing tiers as well. And any units within 12 inches of her, they get their leadership as 10 when taking the Act of Faith or War Hymns test. You've also got the Saintly Blessings. At the start of the turn, you can bestow Saintly Blessing, and they affect different unit types accordingly. Everything from elites gaining counterattack and furious charge to your Lord of War getting It Will Not Die. Inquisitor Grayfax, lovely looking model, 150 points. Stat line pretty much same as Space Marine, but she gets 3 wounds. Strength and toughness only 3 though. She does get 3 attacks. She's got Mastercrafted Condemner Bolt Gun. It basically fires this one-shot anti-psyker type weapon that's really damaging to psychers or even units that have the psyker rule. She's also level 2 psyker. And then she's also got a power sword. Infiltrators can't set up within 24 inches of her. And then Deny the Witch, she always counts as having a mastery level higher. As well as the telepathy discipline, 2 more powers. She also knows this Aura of Oppression, which is Warp Charge 1 or 3. It's Malediction, non-vehicle enemy unit within 12 inches. Basically they have to take a pinning test, and if the power is in effect, they can't run, turbo boost, perform sweeping advances or fire Overwatch. If you manifest it at Warp Charge 3, the power targets all enemy non-vehicle units within 12 inches. Then you get this little formation, which includes the whole of the Triumvirate of the Imperium, which is all of the sort of 5 models. They get this Inspiring Presence. For any units from the armies of the Imperium that are within 12 inches of 2 or more models from the Triumvirate of the Imperium have Stubborn Special Rule and automatically pass pinning tests. For any units from the armies of the Imperium that are within 12 inches of all 3 models from the Triumvirate of the Imperium have the Fearless Special Rule instead. And then it says the Gemini don't count as purposes of the rule. Exemplars of the Imperium. If you choose a model from the Triumvirate to be the Warlord, then all of the models from this formation can use their Warlord traits. That's pretty awesome. Then you've got 2 more formations. You've got this Conclave of Acquisitorius. Now, for these formations, you're going to probably need a few more books. Oh, I've got them here. You'll probably need the Space Marine Codex. You'll probably need the Imperial Knights Codex, the Scutari Codex, and the Corp Mechanicus Codex, and a codex I don't have, which is the Astra Militarum Codex. So the Conclave of Acquisitorius, you get Bellisarius Call, 1 to 2 Battle Maniples, or 1 War Cohort, Holy Requisitioner, and then 0 to 1 Cohort Cybernetica, Numinous Conclave, and then 1 to 2 Knights of any type, or 1 Baronial Court. So I'll just show you what that looks like. So you need Bellisarius Call from this book. You'll need 1 to 2 of these Battle Maniples. So you'll need Skitarii Vanguard, Rangers, Ruststalkers, Infiltrators, Dragoons, Ballistari, and Dune Crawlers. So 1 or 2 of those. You'll also need a Holy Requisitioner, which is right here, which is the Tech Priest Dominus, and 2 to 3 units of Cataphron Breachers, not Destroyers, Breachers. And then optional is the Cohort Cybernetica, which is, again, another Tech Priest, and Castellan Robot and 2 Castellan Robot Maniples. And the other optional is the Numinous Conclave, which is one of these, which is 2 to 3 units of Fulgurite Electro Priests and 2 to 3 units of Corpuscari Electro Priests. But both of those cohorts are optional. And then 1 to 2 Imperial Knights. So you could have just 1 knight. So that's quite a lot included. Way more than what's sort of depicted in that picture. But yeah, it would have been nice to see the whole lot rather than an action shot. But there you go. So that's one of those. And with that, obviously you get Canticles of Omnissiah. Armory of the Archmagos. During army selection, each character from a Conclave Acquisitorius may upgrade one of their weapons to have a mastercrafted special rule. So each character can upgrade to get mastercrafted. I don't know how useful that actually is. Synchronized data network. If it contains the maximum number of units, then all units in the formation get the Doctrina Imperative special rule. You find that in the Codex Skitarii. Would have been nice if they just included it there though as well, but just for ease. But there you go, maximum units. Now that is an absolute ton of Mechanicum, I tell you. Then the other formation, Wrathful Crusade. You have to have Saint Celestine, Inquisitor Grayfax, 1 Space Marine Captain, an optional Stern Guard Veteran Squad, 2 to 4 Crusader Squads. Crusader Squad is a sort of troop choice. It's 70 points and it's actually Black Templars in your Space Marine Codex. You have 5 Initiates in it and you'll need 2 to 4 of those. 1 to 2 Assault Squads and then 1 Militarum Tempestus platoon. I don't have the Astra Militarum platoon, so I don't know how many Tempestus are in a platoon. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. Put it in the comments. Either way, you get special rules, Crusader, Collective Fanaticism. If it contains a maximum number of units, then all of the units gain Zealot. Unbridled Fury. All units in this formation can reroll failed charge rolls. And in addition, if you roll a 10 or more, for the charge distance, then all models in that unit have Furious Charge special rule for that turn. That's pretty cool. So they're the formations. I would have liked to have seen a few more based around them, sort of like maybe more sisters formations, maybe a couple more where it's Bellisarius and a pack that are scavenging for stuff, pack Mechanicum that's scavenging for stuff, or even sort of like a Witch Hunter sort of formation with Grayfax and some sisters, or like a kill team sort of formation with her and some elite units, something like that. That I would find that would be pretty cool because they've got the Agents Codex. I would have liked to have seen the models sort of incorporated a bit more into this, but never mind. And then it goes on about combined Imperium forces, and it talks about this Grand Convocation detachment, and it just outlines this detachment here, and it gives you some command benefits. And then you've also got another Castellans of the Imperium detachment, and it also gives you the command benefits. You have 2 HQ choices and 4 troop choices. You've got a ton of HQ choices there to pick from, everything from a Canoness to Librarians, heavy support. You've got Land Raiders, Storm Ravens, and then you've got a lot of Knights, even a Baneblade and a Shadow Sword. So that's quite a cool detachment. And then Armory of the Imperium, just a few extra weapons like the Condemner Bolt Gun, the Art Scourge, the Mechadendrite Hive, special issue the Psych Out Grenades, and the Cyoculum, and the Scryer Skull. Arcana Mechanicum, so you've got quite a few relics here, everything from this bizarre weaponry called the Quantum Annihilator, which strength is 2d6. Assault 3, Quantum Paradox. If the roll is above 10, you sort of get this instant death and automatic penetrating hits. To Ecclesiarchy, Relics, where you get this Blade of the Worthy for 30 points, which is strength plus 2, AP 3 or 2, melee and divine fury, where a leadership test, and the strength in the AP is increased, which is quite a cool little relic. And then Inquisition tactical objectives, so you've got some tactical objectives there as well. So in summary, I know that this campaign may go on for a while, but I've heard rumours of another triumvirate, and also it's on Warhammer TV's website. There's a little trailer for what looks like Eldrad's symbol. So I think there's going to be Eldar involved, and quite possibly Dark Eldar. We'll see. So if you want to start at the beginning with the story and all the background, this is a great book, and it is a fantastic addition to your box set with the Triumvirate. It's got all the rules in there for the models, and although there's a lean version of the rules in the box set, minus the sort of canticles and stuff, it's nice to have them in this book. And I looked at this book primarily as like a campaign book and the start of the story of this fall of Cadia, rather than the Imperial Knight Codex, which I primarily looked at it from there's Datasheets and they're brand new units that we'd never seen before, kind of thing. So if you look at it from that point of view, then that's great. But also, if you've got friends that have chaos or orc armies, this book allows you to try out the missions against them and be part of that sort of campaign and that storyline. And it does sort of revolve around the sort of three main characters of the campaign. I think it's a fantastic release. If they do the same in a couple of weeks' time or a few weeks' time, I'll definitely be on board, especially if it's from sort of Eldar's viewpoint and everything's going on that way. If they have another one of these type of box sets with those new models on, that'd be fantastic. Very exciting times for 40k. Straight away in the new year to have this book and to have this this beautiful selection of models, I think it's a really great sign of things to come, and I'm really looking forward to what else is coming out. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.